Welcome to the deep dive. If you are trying to navigate the seismic shifts currently reshaping the pharmaceutical industry, maybe you're an executive plotting your next 5 years or a strategist defending market share, perhaps just deeply curious about where competitive advantage has gone, well, you've come to the right place. We took that stack of sources you provided, all focused on digital transformation in pharma, and what they reveal isn't just change, it's a complete restructuring.
It absolutely is the
Yeah.
competitive foundation of this whole industry. The things that traditionally guaranteed success, like massive manufacturing scale or decades-long R&D budget dominance.
Hmm.
Well, those advantages are being actively augmented and sometimes, frankly, outright displaced by new digital capabilities.
Yeah.
The urgency is, well, it's immediate. Research shows a staggering 84% of pharmaceutical executives see a robust digital health strategy as crucial for staying competitive by 2025.
2025, that deadline is essentially, well, it's tomorrow, right?
Very much, yeah.
And the challenge isn't just about plugging in some new software. It's like fighting a totally new kind of war because the very definition of a competitor has completely changed.
Precisely. Pharma no longer only competes against its traditional rivals. You are now fighting technology giants, these specialized digital health startups moving with incredible agility and entire platform-based organizations. Their whole business model focuses on delivering value in entirely new ways, often bypassing traditional healthcare channels altogether. Yeah, we have definitely moved past the era of just, vague digital aspirations. This is entirely about quantifiable metrics now. Digital technologies, and specifically advanced applications of artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning, cloud computing, advanced analytics. These become the primary, really non-optional drivers of competitive differentiation.
Okay, so before we jump into the 7 pillars themselves, we really have to look at the tangible results driving this colossal investment. Because we aren't talking about small gains here, are we? What are the operational numbers that are forcing companies to, well, bet the farm on AI integration?
The initial competitive advantage driven by AI and just core operations is shocking, frankly. Companies implementing really comprehensive AI strategies, they report an astronomical 450% return on investment, ROI.
450%.
Yes, and that number isn't fluffy. It's built on hard operational efficiencies.
Okay.
We're talking about a 40% reduction in clinical trial costs.
40%.
40%. And a 60% improvement in regulatory submission quality.
A 40% cost reduction in clinical trials. That's not just efficient, that's transformational risk mitigation, isn't it?
It really is.
Are those savings coming from, like, smarter patient recruitment, or is it more about better predictive modeling?
It's both, really,
Hmm.
but predominantly predictive modeling. AI helps identify the highest probability candidates much earlier, anticipate trial failure points, optimize dosage protocols digitally, sometimes before the trials even physically begin. It speeds up the process and drastically reduces the chance of those really costly late-stage setbacks.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The sources stress that digital transformation isn't just about making the old system faster. 73% of executives believe it will create entirely new value propositions. So if efficiency gets you that 450% ROI, what's generating even higher returns?
That's the ecosystem shift. We are moving from a world where competition centered around a physical product, a pill or a device, to one centered around an integrated service ecosystem. This includes things like digital therapeutics, highly personalized medicine platforms, and that massive shift towards direct-to-patient service models.
Right. This sounds very much like the tech company playbook. Build a platform, lock people in, and dig a competitive moat around it. Is that what's happening?
Precisely. Platforms generate network effects. Data accumulates, it locks customers in, and it makes it exponentially harder for rivals to compete. And the success metrics, they prove this model works. Successful pharmaceutical platforms are demonstrating an incredible 520% ROI.
520%.
And if you look specifically at those direct-to-patient strategies, the ones leveraging digital tools to engage consumers directly, they showed even higher 580% return.
580% return, that's just unprecedented. Is that sustainable, though, or is that more of a first-mover advantage that's going to diminish pretty rapidly?
Well, it reflects opening up entirely new revenue streams and, importantly, improved patient adherence rates, which directly impacts revenue. But you raise a really critical point. While the ROI is massive, so is the required commitment. The sources indicate that to achieve mastery across all 7 of these competitive pillars we're about to discuss, the total investment needed ranges from $25.3 million to $29.8 million.
Okay. That's the cost of entry.
That's the cost of entry. But The expected average ROI across the entire portfolio is still a substantial 445%.
That is persuasive data. It really shows why not investing might be the biggest risk of all. Okay, now let's get into the specifics. You mentioned these 7 areas can't be treated as silos. So what's the fundamental challenge for executives trying to coordinate this massive shift?
The framing is crucial here. It requires coordinated execution, not just, departmental upgrades here and there. Success demands balancing two potentially conflicting mandates. First, maintaining the rigorous core pharmaceutical competencies, quality, safety, compliance, the things that define the industry, but simultaneously building and integrating those rapidly evolving digital competencies across every single function.
Right. Okay, let's break down these 7 critical challenges then. Starting with the area that offers the single biggest potential payoff, which also seems to be the area needing the biggest cultural shift, right?
That would be pillar one, digital innovation competitive advantage. You see, the traditional pharmaceutical approach is linear, it's slow, and it's necessarily risk-averse. The new imperative is moving to agile, innovation-driven strategies that embrace continuous experimentation, kind of mirroring a Silicon Valley startup model, but crucially, inside a highly regulated environment.
Okay, but how do you actually reconcile agile experimentation with, say, phase 3 clinical trial regulatory safety requirements? That seems like a huge tension.
You embed expertise in emerging technologies like AI, specialized digital therapeutics development, directly into the earliest stages of R&D. This pillar really requires dedicated innovation cultures focused on strategic risk-taking, not just avoiding risk. And that cultural change, it delivers the highest expected ROI at 580%. What that translates to is a 50% reduction in innovation development time, combined with a 70% improvement in competitive differentiation. Speed to novelty is absolutely paramount.
Okay, 590% ROI from innovation. But that huge payoff is only valuable if you can actually get it to market quickly, which brings us perfectly to pillar 2. Time to market acceleration. This is all about rapid, efficient progression from discovery to launch, while again maintaining those non-negotiable quality and safety standards.
Exactly. The core process here is fundamentally changing how work flows through the organization. It means implementing parallel processing strategies and lean development methodologies. You have to integrate project management systems that allow multiple functional teams, preclinical, regulatory, manufacturing, to plan and execute concurrently, moving away from those old sequential wait-and-see approaches.
What does parallel processing actually look like in practice in such a highly regulated R&D environment? Are we talking about like running phase 2 and phase 3 planning concurrently using predictive models?
Exactly that. Using modeling and AI to predict the likely safety and efficacy profile allows regulatory and manufacturing planning to begin much, much earlier. It reduces that dead time between traditional phases significantly. This delivers a strong 480% ROI, and the sources quantify a 35% reduction in overall development timelines.
35% faster.
And that is a direct line to a 50% improvement in first-mover advantages. Speed definitely pays the bills here.
Okay, so if you've been fast and innovative, the next big challenge is getting paid properly for the value you deliver. That takes us to pillar 3, value-based pricing models.
This is the major shift away from legacy cost plus pricing, simply charging based on what it costs to make the drug plus a margin. Now it's about outcome-linked payment models. You absolutely must demonstrate concrete therapeutic and economic value to payers and healthcare systems.
So no more just selling a product, you're selling a measurable, almost guaranteed patient outcome. How do you prove that value rigorously enough for payers?
This requires massive investment in generating real-world evidence, or RWE. RWE generation and sophisticated health economic modeling capabilities are now, well, they're non-negotiable. You need dedicated health economists using advanced analytics to show the long-term value of the intervention in actual patient populations, linking payment directly to predefined success metrics. This capability nets a very healthy 520% ROI and achieves a huge 60% enhancement in market access success rates, because payers are willing to reimburse a high-cost treatment if the outcome is guaranteed and proven with solid data.
That leads us nicely into the external competitive field with Pillar 4, strategic alliance formation. It sounds like the complexity of these digital ecosystems means nobody can really go it alone anymore.
That's absolutely right. The goal is leveraging external partnerships for collaborative innovation. You use them to accelerate market success and enhance capabilities that you perhaps don't possess internally. Think partnering with a specialized AI firm, or maybe a major healthcare data platform. The required process needs to be systematic. Rigorous partner identification, proper due diligence, and really robust alliance management systems that protect your intellectual property, your IP, while still enabling deep collaboration.
That tension you mentioned, collaborating deeply while protecting your core knowledge, that must be a huge management challenge day to day.
It is, absolutely. But if executed correctly, it yields a solid 420% ROI, and it facilitates a 60% enhancement in capability development through shared resources and, importantly, shared risk. The alliance structure helps rapidly close those crucial digital competency gaps.
Okay, speaking of protection, let's turn to what you called the most foundational strategic element, Pillar 5, intellectual property protection. The goal here is comprehensive protection of your innovations, both the physical drug and the digital aspects, to create those unbreachable competitive moats.
Right, and this cannot be an afterthought managed solely by a legal team anymore. That model is broken. The key process now is developing a strategic patent portfolio and integrating IP considerations very early into innovation planning. We're talking about a shift from ad hoc legal filing towards systematic IP management using portfolio analytics to guide decisions.
Interesting. This pillar has the lowest stated ROI in the list at 380%. Why should an executive prioritize it maybe over the 580% potential from digital innovation?
Because it's foundational. Think of it like the insurance policy that validates all the other investments you're making. If you can't protect your 580% ROI innovation, well, that ROI quickly drops to zero, doesn't it? This focus enables a 70% improvement in innovation protection effectiveness. It determines the long-term sustainability of every other competitive advantage you build.
Got it. Okay, moving on to execution. Pillar 6, market access strategy digitization. This seems to kind of bridge the strategic work we talked about in Pillar 3 with the speed emphasis of Pillar 2.
It does, precisely. This pillar is focused specifically on accelerating patient access and optimizing reimbursement outcomes by eliminating bureaucratic friction points. The shift here is towards technology-enabled evidence generation using those RWE systems continuously, plus automated submission processes and virtual payer engagement capabilities. These replace the cumbersome manual back and forth that used to dominate.
So basically, digital streamlining of the entire payer relationship.
Exactly. This results in a healthy 460% ROI, and it delivers a 50% reduction in market access timelines, paired with a significant 60% improvement in reimbursement approval rates. It takes the value evidence you generated in Pillar 3 and uses digital efficiency to get paid faster and more reliably.
Right. Okay, finally, we turn to overarching strategy. Pillar 7, competitive intelligence systems. We're talking about shifting from just reactively observing the competition to a truly proactive, intelligence-driven strategy, correct?
Absolutely. You must implement integrated systems that utilize AI and machine learning for real-time monitoring, comprehensive signal detection across vast data sets, and most importantly, predictive competitive modeling. Legacy CI systems only told you what happened last quarter. These new systems aim to anticipate your rivals' next moves before they make them.
How does that actually look in practice? Does that mean like modeling the potential success rate of a competitor's phase I trial based on publicly available data and signals?
Exactly that kind of thing. It's pattern recognition at a massive scale. It allows you to anticipate emerging competitive threats and adjust your own strategy before they launch, not after. The payoff for being proactive here is a 420% ROI, achieving a 60% improvement in competitive threat detection and a substantial 70% increase in the sustainability of your competitive advantages.
That is a truly staggering framework when you lay it all out. To synthesize this, what's the single most important takeaway for executives trying to manage these 7 simultaneous, costly challenges?
I think the biggest picture takeaway is the dual mandate. Organizations absolutely must balance the maintenance of those core pharmaceutical competencies, quality, safety, regulatory compliance, you can't drop those, with continuous heavy investment in both technology infrastructure and developing human digital capabilities. Your people need the skills. This isn't a temporary project you complete. It is a permanent state of integrated digital execution.
And this fierce competition isn't just confined to local markets. It's clearly a global race. What do the sources indicate about navigating international markets? They often have unique regulatory hurdles, cultural barriers.
Yeah, that's critical. Success internationally requires balancing the standardization of the digital strategies you develop centrally with crucial localization requirements. Things like cultural adaptation, language specificity, and navigating complex cross-border data management regulations like GDPR and others. Organizations that successfully implement these global digital strategies, they achieve a 385% average ROI internationally. and that enhances market penetration by a significant 45 to 55%. You simply cannot afford to treat international deployment as an afterthought anymore.
Okay, so we've covered the incredible speed of development, a 35% faster time to market. We've talked about the necessity of strategic protection, leading to a 70% improvement in IP effectiveness, and the massive upfront cost, that investment range of $25.3 million to $29.8 million. But with a guaranteed average ROI across the board of 445%, the message seems crystal clear. The future of pharmaceutical competitiveness is digital, it's quantified, and it's definitely ecosystem based.
It paints a very clear but undoubtedly complex picture. High risk, absolutely, but even higher potential reward.
Right. But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. And this is the fundamental tension that you, our listener, probably have to solve internally within your own organization. If the key to competitive differentiation now lies in both radical speed, that 35% faster time to market we discussed, and the absolute necessity of rigorous strategic IP protection and compliance, how will the pharmaceutical industry actually reconcile its traditional multi-year, highly risk-averse culture built around safety and regulatory compliance with this new imperative for agility and continuous digital experimentation? That inherent conflict between tradition and transformation, that feels like the true battleground of the next decade.